In the previous chapter, Logan was ordered to lead House McClane against a massive rebel army, but just before the battle, the king recalled his strongest troops to the capital and scattered the allied forces, leaving House McClane to fight alone. Realizing he might have been betrayed, Logan still accepted the mission and silently vowed this would be the last time. The next scene shifted to the royal palace, where the king received a report about Logan McClane's decision. The report confirmed that McClane had accepted the royal order without any resistance. It was also confirmed that the Knight Order and the crossbow cavalry had already departed for the capital. The king found the situation unexpected, because he had planned to use McClane's refusal as an excuse against him. Instead, McClane had willingly complied, leaving the king wondering what he was truly planning. The king believed McClane seemed confident that he could still win, with only the forces left under his command. One possibility was that McClane was relying on the Earth Magic Tower for support. Another unconfirmed rumor claimed that Marquis Luther Cale was accompanying McClane. The report shocked everyone because Luther Cale had supposedly been serving under the Sword Duke. The king explained that the two shared a master and disciple relationship, making McClane's decision to give up his troops easier to understand. Even so, everyone agreed that the coming battle would still be extremely difficult. The king, however, wanted far more than a difficult fight. His true objective was for Logan McClane to die on that battlefield. Meanwhile, Logan gathered his remaining forces and officially began the march toward the battlefield. 2 weeks later, the army finally arrived outside Jahid Castle. A knight informed the castle commander that the McClane army had reached the castle gates. The estimated strength was around 50 knights and 7,000 soldiers. After hearing the numbers, the commander realized the enemy force was less than half the size of his own army. He also knew they now possessed the repeating crossbows that McClane had once been so proud of. On top of that, they had already prepared countermeasures against McClane's bombs. Confident in their advantage, the commander believed it was finally time for McClane's own weapons to be turned against him. As both armies faced each other outside the castle, Logan stepped forward with his soldiers and raised his voice across the battlefield. He declared that everyone serving the descendant of the old era's tyrant would be executed. He gave the rebels one final chance to throw down their weapons and surrender if they wanted to live. His declaration shocked every knight defending the castle. Moments later, an advanced knight named Richard stepped out from inside the palace to answer him. Richard dismissed Logan's warning and mocked his words. He branded Logan as the noble slayer who had slaughtered the entire royal bloodline. In Richard's eyes, Logan was the true tyrant. He also declared that they would continue fighting for Prince Clavis until the very end. After seeing the unfamiliar warrior, Logan turned to Marquis Luther Cale. He pointed out that the man was an advanced knight he had never seen before. Logan asked whether Cale knew anything about him. Cale admitted that it was also his first time seeing Richard. He believed the man had never even appeared during the Civil War. Hearing that, Logan immediately became suspicious. An advanced knight with that level of strength had remained completely hidden until now. Logan realized Richard might be connected to the true mastermind behind everything. Without wasting another moment, Logan drew his sword and declared that he would personally crush anyone standing in his way. At the same time, one of the massive stone-like creatures marching with his army stepped forward and hurled a gigantic fireball toward the castle. The blazing projectile raced across the battlefield and crashed directly into the castle's defensive barrier instead of reaching the walls. A powerful shockwave spread across the area, but the barrier absorbed the entire explosion without breaking. The unexpected sight stunned both Logan and Marquis Luther Cale. Logan quickly realized that the rebels had a mage supporting them from inside the castle. Judging by the strength of the barrier, he understood that the enemy mage was powerful enough to block such a massive explosion with fourth circle magic. Seeing the attack fail, Cale immediately asked Logan what they should do next. Before Cale could receive an answer, Logan had already made up his mind. He climbed down from his horse without the slightest hesitation and began marching straight toward the palace alone. The defending knights instantly noticed his movement and unleashed a relentless rain of arrows to stop his advance. Without wasting a second, Cale rushed forward and raised a powerful barrier shield in front of Logan. Every incoming arrow slammed into the magical shield before falling harmlessly to the ground. After completely blocking the attack, Cale surged forward with overwhelming force and angrily cleared the enemy knights out of Logan's path. The defending soldiers were left completely stunned by the display of power. One of the knights finally recognized the approaching warrior and shouted Logan McClane's name in panic. Ignoring the chaos around him, Logan suddenly leaped high into the air with incredible speed. In a single powerful strike, he sliced straight through the castle's protective barrier, as if it were nothing. He landed directly in front of the palace entrance, leaving everyone on the battlefield frozen in disbelief. The defenders could hardly believe that someone had broken through the barrier so effortlessly. Reacting immediately, Richard rushed forward to intercept Logan. At the same time, two more advanced knights joined him, surrounding Logan from different directions. Seeing all three opponents together, Logan quickly realized that every one of them had reached the level of an advanced knight. Without giving Logan a moment to prepare, Richard ordered the three of them to charge together. The three advanced knights charged toward Logan at full speed, determined to bring him down together. Seeing their approach, Logan welcomed the attack and made it clear that they had chosen death. In the very next instant, Logan unleashed his aura. The attack struck all three advanced knights at the same time, hitting them directly in the stomach. Blood burst from their mouths as they were sent flying backward. Richard was completely stunned. He instantly realized that Logan was using aura and understood that he had already reached the level of a superhuman. The remaining knights were overwhelmed with fear. They watched in disbelief as three advanced knights were defeated with a single strike. The sight of Logan's aura left the entire battlefield in shock. At the same time, with the castle's protective barrier destroyed, a rain of explosive bombs began falling from above. The defending soldiers immediately realized the barrier was gone. In desperation, they hurried to throw Liberatio in an attempt to stop the bombardment. Panic spread throughout the battlefield as countless soldiers cried out for help while trying to survive the relentless explosions. One desperate knight decided that, even if he died, he would at least take one enemy down with him. Before he could make a move, one of Logan's massive golems suddenly grabbed him. The terrified soldier froze as he finally realized that the creatures surrounding them were golems. Moments later, the golems charged into the battlefield and began crushing the remaining knights one after another. The terrified soldiers screamed in horror, desperately trying to escape the monstrous constructs. Meanwhile, Grick continued directing the battle. He ordered everyone to keep throwing Liberatio, while Rhea held back the enemy soldiers with her golems. Rhea immediately carried out the order without hesitation. Watching the battlefield, Logan smiled with satisfaction. He was impressed that Rhea could already control such a large number of golems at once. To Logan, it was undeniable proof that a true genius would always stand above everyone else. His assistant could barely contain the excitement. The assistant revealed that Rhea had recently reached the fourth circle. Her mana control and spell application were already said to surpass what was normally expected from that level. Sir Clayton had reportedly been praising her non-stop, calling her a once-in-history genius. The assistant's overwhelming excitement even caught Logan off guard, forcing him to tell the assistant that he already understood. As the bombardment continued, the castle walls finally began collapsing. Realizing the decisive moment had arrived, Logan ordered his entire army to launch the final assault. Without wasting another second, his forces stormed straight into the castle to wipe out the remaining rebels. 1 week later, the scene shifted to the capital during a grand royal gathering. The nobles quietly discussed the latest news surrounding Logan McLean and the rebellion. Reports confirmed that Logan had completely crushed the rebel army, despite being outnumbered by more than 2 to 1. Meanwhile, the other noble families were still struggling to eliminate the remaining rebel forces. The nobles found the victory almost impossible to believe. Many wondered how Logan had achieved such an overwhelming victory against such impossible odds. As the discussion continued, another rumor spread through the hall. According to the reports, Logan had awakened as a superhuman. While the nobles were still processing the shocking news, Logan himself arrived at the royal palace. He entered the hall carrying a large bag over his shoulder. His arrival immediately drew everyone's attention. The nobles quietly announced the arrival of Count Logan McLean. The moment they felt his overwhelming presence, the entire hall fell into silence. His powerful aura left everyone speechless. Many could not believe that someone so young had already reached the level of a superhuman. At the same time, the nobles became curious about the mysterious bag resting on Logan's shoulder. Without saying a word, Logan stepped forward and placed the bag on the floor. He slowly opened it and emptied its contents before the king. To everyone's horror, the bag contained the severed head of Clavis. The entire hall was frozen in terror at the gruesome sight. Logan then knelt before the king and formally reported that he had crushed the rebellion and brought Clavis's head as proof of his victory. However, instead of showing satisfaction, the king remained visibly unhappy.